There we go. There we go. That's how it started now. Good.
John and Ed, they're on patrol, chasing shadows, heart and soul. Cryptid hunter UFO, down this rabbit hole they go. In the woods and on the street, whispers follow their heartbeat. Alien eyes, giant's feet, old got shadows they all meet. Down the rabbit hole they dive, midnight secrets start to thrive. Mysteries keep them alive. In the dark, does truth survive? Haunted houses, midnight calls, endless echoes in the halls. Ghostly armies, secret falls, every clue, they chase them all. On the woods and on the street, whispers follow their heartbeat. Alien eyes, giant's feet, all got shadows they all meet. Down the rabbit hole they dive, midnight secrets start to thrive. Mysteries keep them alive. In the dark, does truth survive? Haunting walls, they've got the key. Hidden fears, they set them free. Cryptid hunter, you and me. Down this rabbit hole, let's see. Unseen worlds, they've got the key. Hidden fears, they set them free. Cryptid hunter, you and me. Down this rabbit hole, let's see.
Hey, hey, hey. Good evening, everyone. It's me and Ed, and we're here to entertain you with the Lizzid people.
Lizard people.
How are you, Ed?
I'm good, thanks. There's a few people that have been asking for this one for a while. So
There are.
happy
How's
to
Ed's
oblige.
volume? Does he need to turn it up? Turn it up, Ed. Turn it up.
You're a strange, ritualistic Scottish man. You know that.
Ritualistic.
Well, you have your little rituals, so that makes you ritualistic.
Yeah, I suppose they do. They do.
But you have to have something to keep you sane in this utterly insane world of ours. I mean,
Yeah,
look, another week, another giant pile of. Oh, just. But I think I don't know. I don't know if it's the moon. I don't know if it's the full moon or something. But everything has felt very strange for a few days. It's not been. It's.
Is it a full moon?
Yeah, we've just gone full moon. It's
right.
we're now on the other side, but the full moon.
It's been cloudy here over an evening, and so I've not seen the full moon. In fact, it's been very dark. I thought,
yeah,
the nights are drawing in.
Well, thank God for that, because it means the bloody gulls don't wake me up so early in the morning. All my neighbours, which is the latest. I'm not even going to go there. It just made me depressed.
I saw that, mate. I saw that. Don't worry about it. Right. Okay. So we got a good attendance in the troll room tonight. We've got Shalini, Beats and Tapes, Brit Mate, Johnny and John, Amy and Dystopia, Ray. Oh, who else we got? We get everyone in tonight. Yeah. Right. Let's crack on then. Let's crack on. So, excuse me. Excuse me,
Have
everyone.
you got a bit of throat rona there?
No, not at all. Right. So let's go with Los Angeles. We'll start with Los Angeles and the strange catacomb city that's underneath the modern day Los Angeles. That was allegedly discovered by this guy called Shufeld. So, an article came out in the LA Times around about 1934. Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted. So this guy Shufeld claimed that once he'd mapped it, where are we? Right. A mining engineer named G. Warren Shufeld, he claimed to have developed a radio X-ray that showed a series of underground tunnels beneath Los Angeles, which he mapped out. He believed there was gold there. Right. So, Lizard People's Catacomb City hunted. Engineer sinks shaft under Fort Moore Hill to find maze of tunnels and priceless treasures of legendary inhabitants. And busy Los Angeles, although little realizing it in the hustle and bustle of modern existence, stands above a lost city of catacombs filled with incalculable treasures and imperishable records of a race of humans. Humans further advanced intellectually and scientifically than even the highest type of present-day peoples. In the belief of G. Warren Shufeld, geophysical mining engineer, now engaged in an attempt to wrest from the lost city deep in the earth below Fort Moore Hill the secrets of the lizard people of legendary fame in the medicine lodges of the American Indians, specifically the Hopi tribe.
More about them later.
Yeah, indeed. So firmly the Shufeld and little staff of assistants believe that a maze of catacombs and priceless golden tablets are to be found beneath downtown Los Angeles, that the engineer and his aides have already driven a shaft 250 foot deep into the mound of earth.
You make it sound so dramatic.
It was. Well, and it was dramatic because this was his second attempt. He doesn't actually tell you that, but this was his second attempt because in 1933, a guy called Warren Shufeld, a mining engineer, had a contract with the city of Los Angeles that was looking for underground tunnels under Los Angeles that were full of conquistador gold. Right?
Right.
So in 1933, he was looking for conquistador gold, which he didn't find. And then in 1934, he has upped the ante and gone with maybe a little bit of the science fiction of the era. Robert E. Howard was around at that point, Conan and all that, and H.P. Lovecraft, and he's come up with this kind of catacomb underground city, the Lost City. The unnamed city that was underground and was there because the people had to evade an all-encompassing flood-stroke firestorm that wiped out everything on the surface above. But they rode it out in their underground city. But they weren't lizards. They were humans. Although they were meant to be intellectually advanced humans, way more intelligent than we are. Their 9-year-olds were supposed to be of degree level.
Well, that sounds very much to me like a story of people surviving the last, or one of the cataclysms that's happened 6,000 or 12,000 years ago, most likely.
It does. And he had this X-ray device on which he mapped out the catacombs and said they formed the image of a lizard, right? And it's thought that the people worshipped lizards, but they weren't actually lizards. But
well, I mean, we can come back to that because
Yeah.
I did some digging into the Hopis,
Yeah.
and I mean their mythology is full of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So we dig into Schufeld, and we find that his X-ray device that he mapped the tunnels out with is nothing more than a glorified dowsing rod. Okay. There's no scientific basis for it to work, especially not to be able to look through 250 feet of earth and discover a room full of gold, which no one ever got to, right? So it sounds to me very much as if this was kind of like a confidence trick, a scam.
Yeah.
And you have to
snake oil salesman, as they say.
Well, yeah, and you have to bear in mind this was 1933, 1934, which was the height of the recession, right? So nobody had any money, or depression, yeah, the Great Depression, and he was getting money off the city of Los Angeles because he was going to go 50-50 once he found the gold. But he never found the gold. There was no gold. and I mean, he started, like I said, he started off in 1933 looking for conquistador gold, okay?
But the conquistadors, they didn't secrete gold away like pirates. They took it all back to Spain.
Yes, they did. Exactly. So, why do people think that they traipsed across America hiding gold in stashes, in the middle of nowhere? No, they didn't. They put it on their ships and took it back to Spain.
Well, you would think that a conquistador that was even suggested secreting some of this gold haul away and keeping it away from the King of Spain would probably have been keel-hauled or some other horrific method that they had to end people's lives back then.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to pick my words carefully so as to not instantly get us banned by.
Don't worry about it. Oh yeah. So basically, I think this guy's been at it, and he's kind of generated a complete, what would you call it, a fabrication, really, in order to get some money off the city of LA and spend it on, he's probably been looking for gold on the off chance that there might be some there, but you know what? He's probably just been spending the money and living on it. And to be fair, the guy died, I think he died in 1957, and he hadn't found any gold, ever. No treasure for you.
Well, I mean, partly you can explain it with the Great Depression, just the amount of desperation there must have been, because that kind of economic downturn is not something that most of us have experienced and have known.
Yet.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but you just had to jinx it, didn't you? My God. Well,
I don't know. I mean, some of us have pretty much experienced an economic downturn. I mean, I've gone from what, 6 figures a year to I don't think I even, no, it's about 15 grand or something I make just now. A year, So that's a big come down, mate.
Yeah, I mean that's a personal economic depression for sure.
It sure is. But hey ho, I'm doing my best here.
Well, you have to kind of take the punches sometimes, and
well, you do, and
figure out how to get up.
I much enjoy this than working for the bank.
Yeah, working for a bank. I've always sacrificed salary in IT for work-life balance, and I mean, I basically work for a very small company. I probably could get a high-flying job in the city if I really wanted to, but I couldn't do it. That whole corporate thing it's soul destroying. And then when you're a bit awake to what's going on in the world and you're working for some big corporate and you realize these people are basically rampaging across the planet, doing all sorts of horrendous things, and you just can't live with it. So
it's quite interesting though, because you get to see from the inside what these people are like, and they are just focused on one thing, and that is filthy lucre. That's all they're focused on, and it is quite interesting. And in some respects, you can sit back and laugh because they're focused on the filthy lucre, and you're taking as much of that away from them as you possibly can. And don't get me wrong. I mean, what was it, £60 an hour or something you're earning as a contractor in a bank? I mean, well, that's what I was on, and I mean that wasn't necessarily the highest. So you earn a lot of money, but they do take it out of you, and work-life balance isn't the greatest because most of the stuff, as an IT professional, most of the stuff that you've got to change is at night. When the bank's got downtime, because they won't let you do anything during the day. Nothing. Oh, sorry, that'll interfere with gathering money. You can do it at the weekend or you can do it at night, But working for the police was a completely different laugh. That was a laugh, because the police is a public sector organisation. If you ever worked in a public sector organisation, you know that it's a scream because nobody takes anything seriously.
Which explains why it explains exactly why the bloody country's in the state that it's in.
Yeah,
and you can see that with council workers and stuff.
Yeah,
and you see the government. You look at all the politicians, and I mean, they're all those new MPs. They're all laughing now. They've got their allowances, and they've got their salary, and they have their subsidised bar and subsidised restaurants.
And then they've got all the staff, and they've got all the lackeys in. They've got all their pals in as the staff and all this. Yeah, it's
and then they have all the lobbyists sucking up to them, so they can get free trips to here, there, and everywhere. And it's the whole
it's wrong.
thing.
It's completely wrong.
It's not just wrong, but it's actually emblematic of the state that the country's in.
Yeah, it's good. But anyway, tell me about the Hopi then, because what's his name? Sheffield. He as part of the explanation, he said Little Chief Greenleaf or something like that, or Chief Little Greenleaf.
Well,
had told him about this. He'd been in touch with them, but the Hopi live in Arizona, nowhere near LA. Yeah.
No. Yes. I think southeastern Arizona. But let's just start with a little story, and it relates to this is it's basically a Hopi creation myth about their main lizard person. Not quite lizard person, but I should actually be more respectful because the Hopi take these things very seriously. So I don't want to offend any ancestral spirits or anything. But anyway,
right? Okay, yeah.
Well,
okay, right. No, yeah,
just get that out there.
Well, 100%, yeah. Let me draw a circle of salt around myself first. just in case.
I hope you got the wooden stake and the silver bullet handy as well.
Yeah. Oh, I've got my baton. I've got that.
Oh dear.
Right, sorry. Do carry on, my good man. Please do. Oh,
yeah, no, sorry. I just had a message. Right, okay. Now, long ago, during a time of great drought, the Hopi people were suffering. The crops were failing and the water sources were drying up. The elders gathered to discuss what could be done, and they decided to send a young man on a journey to seek help. The young man travelled far, eventually reaching a great lake. As he approached the water, Palikmana, the water serpent maiden, emerged. She listened to the young man's plea for help and was moved by the plight of the Hopi people. Palikmana agreed to help, but she set a condition. The Hopi must always respect water and use it wisely. The young man agreed, and Palikmana taught him sacred songs and dances that would bring rain. When the young man returned to his village, he taught the others what he had learned. The Hopi performed the ceremonies as instructed, and soon the rains came, ending the drought. From that time on, the Hopi honored Palik Mana in their ceremonies, remembering the importance of water and the balance of nature. That's just a nice little story that I came across that I thought would be a nice little way to start the segment. But it emphasizes a few things. First of all, Palik Mana is almost always depicted with reptilian qualities.
Yeah.
And she also represents the importance of water, which, if you're living in southeastern Arizona and you're a Native American tribe, then water is going to be an extremely important thing. Now, reptilians are right; they run right the way through Hopi culture. It's actually quite interesting because when you start the research, the first thing that you come across is obviously the David Icke stuff, which is equally interesting. I mean, that's kind of what Hecklefish certainly is talking about when he talks about lizard people.
Well, where do you stand? I mean, let's get our cards on the table, right? Where do you stand on lizard people?
Well, to be perfectly honest, when I was first reading David Icke's books and doing a whole bunch of research back 20 years ago now, he kind of lost me a bit when he started talking about lizard people, because the whole reptilian thing, certainly from my mind, the way it was back then, wasn't open to. Because I'm a sci-fi fan, so if you talk to me about reptilians, I'm instantly start thinking about some cheesy Star Trek
the Gorn
latex latex lizard monsters. But actually, we're not necessarily talking about physical creatures, although some people do believe that there are actual reptilians in skin suits, and you see pictures of people where someone blinks and suddenly they've got a reptilian eye or something like that. But in the last 4 years, I have entertained all sorts of notions which I'd previously written off, and
really?
the reptilians are kind of one of them. And I'm not talking about necessarily do I think that there are people out there that are actually lizards in people suits, and the answer to that is most likely no.
Right.
But this notion of some sort of, because David Icke talks about it's almost like they exist in a different dimension, that people can see, because there's lots of different stories of people who have taken certain mind-altering substances that one can consume in a jungle with tribes and
psychedelics.
Right. Sorry, being careful with me.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I have to be.
We're not endorsing it. We're not endorsing it.
No. But anyway, so under the influence of said substances, but there are some common themes that different people doing this stuff at different times report similar visions of reptilian, dark energy sorts of creatures that kind of try and suck you in and things like that. And again, 5-6 years ago, I probably would have just written that stuff off like, no, that's all nonsense. But the kind of stuff that I've seen happening in the world, certainly over the last 4 years, definitely over the last 6 months, it leaves my mind open to a lot of possibilities to explain things that one finds it difficult to explain otherwise.
Okay.
So that's a very long-winded way of saying I kind of didn't, but I kind of do now.
Okay.
I still don't know. I mean, that goes without saying, but I kind of wasn't, and I kind of am now. And it. So what about you? Where are you at on it?
Oh, I think it's a load of bullshit. And I'll explain.
Don't mince your words then.
I'll explain why, right? Because I think, I mean, if we look at reptilians as they exist in the world today, right? Reptilians have a very limited mental capacity, very limited mental capacity, right? And they always have had. And we talk about, when we cut our own brains up and look at them, we talk about the reptilian brain being this tiny part in the center that just controls the base emotion, not even emotions, the base functions, right? And then everything else that's put around it gives you, some sort of cognition and consciousness.
But
And
what
I
if?
think,
No, sorry, I shouldn't interrupt you. Go on.
and I don't think reptilians have ever got to the point where they could have evolved far enough to have the intelligence that mammals have. I think mammals have way outstripped them. They've outbred them. They've outthought them. You look at reptilians and you look at crocodiles and sharks, and they're still the same creatures they were 65 million years ago. They've not evolved. And I think anything. I think if you're talking about reptilian entities, right? There's no shapeshifters. This shapeshifters are a load of crap, right? People don't. I mean, the royal family are not reptilians. They might be evil, right? And they're certainly inbred, because the royal families are all inbred to a degree, one way or the other, and that's why they keep bringing fresh blood in, like Diana and even then, like what's her name, Kate. They're not that fresh because they're all part of the same circle, but they have to keep, they have to keep a little bit of diversity going. But they're not reptiles. They're just you know they're just what would you call them? Just they're intrinsically entitled. They have that, and people like the Rothschild and all that. I think these people are all kind of inbred, right? And they're all working in different circles from we are, and I agree with that completely. They're on a different plane whatsoever, but they're not in a different dimension. They're just operating on a different level because they have complete and utter power over everything else that's going on in the world. Because effectively they've got the purse strings and they can pull the strings and make people dance. And you can see that when that guy, what was it, Jacob Rothschild, when he poked Prince Charles in the chest. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That said a lot, didn't it? When you can poke the heir to the throne in the chest and go, "You listen to me, boy." And I mean, I don't know what he was saying, but you don't poke somebody in the chest like that in a friendly manner. It's basically you're not doing something that I want you to do.
It's not just that, but you have to think that people like the then heir to the throne, they have security people and stuff around them that are specifically there to stop mere mortals touching them.
No, not in those circumstances, right? This is different. This is a place where the security services would be, at best, they would just be inside the door and they'd be instructed not to interfere with anyone in that room.
Well, that says it all.
They would be looking out. They'd be looking out.
Yeah, but if you or I were in that room, they'd be following us around and shadowing us.
We would never be in that room.
That's the kind of...
in those kind of circumstances, you and I would never be in that room. No one that's not in a circle would be in it.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Yeah, and right. So I mean, there's a couple of points in the chat room that I think are very valid. Britmate, reptilian is more of a reference to behaviorism of those with a more active a reptilian complex part of the brain, possibly.
Well, that's
basically psychopaths, yeah, and I think Ray had said that earlier as well.
And sociopaths as well.
Well, yeah, sociopath, psychopath. There's a little bit of sociopath in all of us, isn't there? Come on.
Well, yes. Well, no, absolutely. No, well, there is.
There is.
Because we have an entire spectrum of aspects of our personality, but it can also be dependent on mood, because sometimes you can be in a good mood and something happens and you just brush it off and you don't even really give it any thought. Mm-hmm. And there's other times where a similar thing can happen, but because you're in a bad mood, you're suddenly getting arrested for thought crimes, because someone bumps into you and you think you're pissed off, so it's like you're just imagining smashing the face on the table or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Shalini,
I do
sorry.
agree that it's personality.
Yeah. So Shalini says, "Did I see the photo of Prince William doing it with Keith? You know, pointing at him and shouting at him at the football." But see, when you look into that photograph, that wasn't an angry gesture, right? See, if you look at it, Prince William's actually he's got a little kind of smile on. I think they were having a laugh and a joke, and it's just a picture that's been taken out of context because it's a snapshot in time, you know, and without everything around it, you don't get the full context. And I think that's what's happened with that picture. I think it looks like he's maybe having a go at him, but I really don't think he is because he wouldn't be doing it in public at a football match, would he?
Well, no, it's interesting that there's been no video of that moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
I
he
think
could
they're
have.
having a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, as you say, it requires context. And I like I said, I'm still kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is some serious evil at work in this world now. Whether
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
but then is it? It's not really fair to blame reptiles. I mean, okay, crocodiles, they're not the nicest of creatures, but they've been doing their thing for hundreds of millions of years, and
Uh-huh.
they're
Yeah.
one of the designs that Mother Nature has gotten right and hasn't been able to kill in all the
Yeah.
various cataclysms that have happened on the planet.
Mhm.
Because if you think of how many, it means that the number of, it's like they outlasted the dinosaurs. So whatever happened on the planet that killed off the dinosaurs somehow managed to spare sharks and crocodiles. Now that to me is actually amazing when you think of what they must have had to do to actually survive.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I mean,
the sharks probably. Well, yeah. Even then, I suppose the sharks would be affected because the food supply would be affected. But I mean, look at the Greenland shark. Have you ever looked into the Greenland shark?
no.
Right. So this is an incredible creature. This lives at the bottom of the ocean, around Greenland. Okay. And it's like it's a horrible looking thing that's a scavenger, and they've found all sorts of things in its stomach, you know. So it'll eat anything that falls into the ocean. They've found moose, they've found polar bears. They found all these things in this thing's stomach, and they've also found a man in a suit of armor in one of these creatures' stomachs, right? And they reckon these sharks can live at least 400 years.
Wow.
Now you think about it. That's before America was America.
Well, I mean, the world's oldest living land tortoise. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not a turtle. It's a tortoise because they're the ones that walk around on land. I mean, that's like 900 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's incredible.
And I think sea turtles, some of those giant turtles, actually live quite a long time. And I mean, there's deep sea creatures out there that we're probably not even aware of. That who knows how long they live. But going back, should we go back to the Hopi? Because
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
One of the things that I did sort of pick up on about the Hopi mythology is that, to start with, they're in the desert. So one of the creatures that they would probably see more of than others would be lizards of various descriptions.
And snakes, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, snakes, they kind of, we're kind of lumping, because it's lizards and serpents. And I mean, if I just run through quickly, basically the Hopi, they have their lizard kashinos, which are they're spirits effectively, and they take some of them take reptilian form. One example is Palikmana that I was talking about earlier, and they're often depicted in like the petroglyphs and stuff as having reptilian features. Although I was looking at petroglyphs earlier and I couldn't really see anything that looked much like a lizard, but maybe that's just me being unimaginative. But they also have underworld serpents. So Hopi cosmology includes an underworld, and some legends speak of giant serpents or snake-like beings inhabiting these realms. Hopi creation stories also mention reptilian or serpent-like creatures playing roles in the formation of the world or in guiding the Hopi people. They're also they're very symbolic. So reptiles, particularly snakes, often symbolize water, which is extremely important in Hopi culture, obviously because they live in a desert, pretty much.
Yeah.
And also a lot of their ceremonies include like lizard representations. So the most famous is probably the snake dance, which is performed biennially by the snake and antelope clans. And in this ceremony, dancers handle live snakes, which are later released to carry prayers for rain to the underworld. Other ceremonies may include masks or body paint representing lizards or snakes, and dances mimicking the movements of these animals. Snakes are also seen as indicators of underground water sources and as mediators between the surface world and the watery underworld. The shedding of a snake's skin is also sometimes interpreted as a symbol of renewal and transformation, which makes sense. What else have we got here?
So Amy says that Kachina dolls, the Hopi say they are star people, and she used to collect the dolls. Is that? Did you come across that?
I didn't find anything about star people, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Kachinas, is it? Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the page. Oh, the page. Where has the page gone? Kachinas. There we go. Kachinas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dolls. You used to collect them, Amy. Much more than collectible art. Natural History Museum of Utah. Oh, that's quite widespread then. So is this the Hopi? Yeah. So they didn't just stick to Arizona by the looks of things.
I didn't extend outwards. I didn't really have time to do anything more than the Hopi, but it wouldn't surprise me because even if you go to Africa,
Sorry, I apologise for laughing, but I mean, when someone comes up with Ray in the chat saying, "I'm still thinking about the armoured guy and the shark. What was he doing swimming in armour?"
He probably fell off a ship.
Yeah, I'm thinking he might have fallen into the water, Ray, and the shark's gone along the bottom and went, "Oh, tinned food now."
Well, considering you can barely walk in those things,
Yeah.
going swimming in a suit of armour is not what you want to do.
No, not advised.
Even just being on a ship.
I'm sorry, that's just tickled my fancy, that one. Tinned food, yep. Right, sorry. Carry on, Ed. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just I did a little bit more. Well, in Zulu folklore, the Zulu are one of the major tribes in South Africa, and there's a race of beings in that which are called Chitauri, which are also supposed to be reptilian or serpent-like beings. They've kind of been, because there's a Zulu shaman called Credo Mutwa that David Icke interviewed in the 90s, and so some of the stuff online has basically been influenced by that.
Yeah.
And Chitauri is also the name of the bad guys in the Marvel Black Panther movie.
Not seen that one.
It's actually a good film, but
is that the Wakanda one?
Yeah.
Wakanda forever.
And so interesting. They actually did use a race of beings from actual African folklore. And so it's interesting that, I mean, there's no connections that I could find between the Zulu and the Hopi, but I do find the I find it interesting that two tribes scattered on different continents could have similar stories about reptilians. I didn't really delve into it that much further, but I wouldn't be surprised, because I think, don't the South American tribes, what are they called? Aztecs?
Yeah, and what? And the what's the other ones? Mayans,
There's Mayans,
Aztecs,
Aztecs,
Mayans, Aztecs, and
Olmecs.
Olmec. Yeah.
Um,
What's the other one? There's another one.
well, that's that
And
Quetzalcoatl, I think it's pronounced.
yeah,
I'm
the
not sure.
flying serpent, the feathered
Yeah,
serpent.
yeah. So the sort of serpenty reptile type.
Inca. That's it.
Mm,
John. Thank you.
that's the one. Thanks, John. Um, and it's fascinating. So if we look at the Hopi creation myths,
Hmm.
which involve reptilian-like beings, Hopi creation mythology often speaks of four worlds. In some versions, reptilian or serpent-like beings play roles in the transition between these worlds.
Yeah.
In the first world, some stories mention a race of lizard people or reptilian beings who lived alongside other creatures. The second world's destruction is sometimes attributed to a great flood, with some versions describing giant water serpents as agents of this destruction.
Hmm.
There's in the Hopi emergence story, which describes how people came to the current fourth world. There are sometimes mentions of snake-like beings. Some versions describe a giant snake or serpent that guided the people through a reed or through a reed or bamboo to emerge into the current world. Other tellings mention
Well,
snake
that's
youths.
Moses. That's Moses in the basket, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's and it's this.
And you think about it, almost every religion has a serpent at the basis of creation, doesn't it? I
Mhm.
mean, Adam and Eve. Who was the
and
bad
that
guy?
and they all
The
have flood
snake.
myths as well. Yeah, they
Yeah.
all have flood myths as well.
Hmm.
Um, which is interesting, and they all date back to roughly the same amount of time. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's just going back to the cataclysm, because that's what they call the Noah event. I think it's actually been properly dated now. It's got Chinese Tianxing or something, which is the geomagnetic excursion 6,000 years ago. Um, and then the Gothenburg event, which was Gothenburg, which was 12,000 years ago, which was also the Younger Dryas,
What was the
which is
Gothenburg event?
well,
What was
it's,
that?
they're just the names given to geomagnetic excursions that happen every
Oh,
six
right.
thousand
Okay.
years,
So,
and
like a magnetic reversal.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think it's named based on where they find because they do it in rocks, and because you can
Yeah.
tell when the magnetic pole changes because of
Hmm.
the magnetism in the rock, and
Hmm.
depending on where you find those rocks in the sediment, you can figure out how far back
Yeah.
that event happened, or a specific type of rocks. Maybe I'm at the edge of my comfort zone with the understanding of
Uh,
the science, but
yeah.
there are
Yeah.
basically ways to work out when the magnetic poles on the planet flip,
Yeah.
and it happens roughly every 6,000 years, where you have a minor one every 6,000 and a major one every 12,000, and we're on the cusp of the 12,000.
Whoa.
Now, going back to this these origin legends, there's other stories that mention snake youth who led certain clans to their current home on the mesas, which is in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like a mesa. I think a mesa is
Yeah. It's a flat bit, isn't it, on
yeah, it's
top of
like a
a.
hill with a flat top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so the snake clan's origin. The snake clan has specific legends involving reptilian beings. One story tells of two snake youths who led the clan on their migration, guiding them to their current home. Another version speaks of a young man who married a snake maiden, leading to the formation of the snake clan. Underworld serpents. Many Hopi stories involve giant serpents living in the underworld. These beings are often associated with water sources and earthquakes. Some legends describe these serpents as guardians of the underground springs and rivers. Okay, now here's Balolokong. I can't even pronounce this word, but it begins with a B and it has lots of dots above O's.
Umlauts. Is that umlauts?
Balolukong.
No.
No,
Oh, whatever.
Balolukong. Yeah, anyway. This is a major water serpent deity in Hopi mythology, often described as a giant horned or plumed serpent, which makes you think of Quetzalcoatl, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Because isn't that a big plumed serpent?
Well, yeah, a feathered serpent, yeah.
It's associated with underground water springs and rainfall, and plays a role in some versions of the creation and emergence stories.
What's a Jataravid? Johnny and John says, what about the Jataravids? Is he just is he throwing things at us now?
That's possible. I don't know. Indian reptilians, maybe. It's got a bit of an Indian sounding name.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
I don't know. Sometimes you look that one up. And then there's transformation legends, where some Hopi stories involve humans transforming into reptilian beings, or vice versa. These often serve as origin stories for certain clans, or as cautionary tales. So where are we? Yeah, no. So that's basically about the Hopi creation myths. I can tell you a little bit more about the Palikmana, which is their main water serpent maiden. And she's a massively important figure in Hopi mythology. She's associated with water, fertility, and the underworld.
Fuck off, John.
Oh, God, what's he on about now?
Yeah, so Jatravatids are a race of creatures that live on Vitvodal 6. They have blue skin and 50 arms each. Yeah, fuck
Douglas
off.
Adams.
You knob.
Piss taker.
Indeed.
Yeah, less of that. Where are we?
Right, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'm just looking through my notes.
He is your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been putting up with him for about 30 years now. See, he grows on you. He does have some redeeming qualities.
Like mold grows on cheese.
Now, don't be nice, nasty.
I'm just referencing my cheese video that I made today. Have you seen it yet? No. You need to go watch it.
Yeah, I didn't have time before the show.
Yeah, that's quite humorous. Well, I thought it was mildly humorous, but some people have said it's hilarious. And Beats and Types thinks it was made specifically for him. In fact, he has given me the honour of if he ever gets a cheese cave, I can run it.
I mean, we could talk a little bit more about the Kashinas if you like, which are the Hopi.
Hey, yeah,
They go back to the dolls that we were looking at earlier on. They're spirit beings in Hopi religion, representing various aspects of the natural world, ancestors and sacred sites. They act as intermediaries between the human and spirit worlds. There are hundreds of different Kashinas, each with their own appearance, personality, and role. Mm-hmm. Some sources estimate that there are over 400 distinct Kashinas. Some of the common types, there are sky Kashinas associated with weather, and Christ almighty, this is an unpronounceable name, Angwunasomtaka. Okay. There's animal Kashinas representing various animals like Koyamesi, the mudhead Kashinas. There's plant Kashinas, warriors Kashinas, clown Kashinas. There's seasonal appearances. Different Kashinas appear at different times of the year.
There's a Kashina that looks like Ben.
Yeah, may well be.
Sorry.
Well, there's clown Kashinas, so yeah. And yeah, I mean they're represented in different ways. There's sometimes it's dancers wearing masks.
There's a minion Kashina. Look, Shalini, there's a minion Kashina. Do you see it? Down here. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's fine. Does look? Yeah, I didn't realise you were pointing that out. It does look a bit like a minion.
It does.
I don't know if there are any Lego Kashinas. And so yeah, there's a lot of Kashina dolls. They're called Titu, Tithu, which are not toys but religious objects used for teaching.
Yeah.
Dancers wearing masks and costumes during ceremonies, and obviously paintings and carvings and things like that. Some of the well-known Kashinas include Tawa, the Sun Kashina. Isn't that one of those? If you go right to the top of that page,
Yeah.
there's one that's got like 4 of them on there.
Oh, hold on. I've jumped into a casino that I shouldn't have. Right. Bear with me. Right. Let's go back up. Right. What are you looking for? This one?
Yeah, that one with the 4, because it looks like it's got names. Just click into that, see if that matches the ones that I've got. I'm not sure it will.
It's not opening. Why is it not opening? All right, hold on. Yeah, the names are ET657.4.
Right, anyway.
And ET6.
Oh, right, okay.
657.2.
A lot of the thing with Kashinas seems connected to rain and harvests and food, which would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's apart from the fact that they take a reptilian form, they're basically just kind of pagan gods, effectively. In a similar sort of sense that the Romans and the Greeks had loads and loads of gods.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure if they necessarily, because they're not referred to as gods, but
I don't get the impression that they're meant to be representative of real entities. I think they're just, things that they kind of dreamt up. I had a really weird dream last night.
Okay.
It was really weird in that I was living and working and all that and doing stuff. And see, when I woke up, and it felt like I'd been there for months, right? And see, when I woke up, I thought, holy shit, that seemed so real. It was as if I was in a completely different world, working away and doing different things. And then I woke up and thought, holy shit, that really seemed real. And, when I say it seemed real, I thought, holy shit, that was real. And I've come back now. Sorry. But you know what I mean? It was a kind of visceral thing almost. It was really bizarre.
Almost like lucid dreaming?
No, it wasn't lucid. It wasn't lucid at all because I didn't realize I was in a dream. I thought I was in a completely separate space. I was working. I was going to work. I was coming home. I was doing things. I was going back to work. And this seemed to go on for months, right? Months. Right. I thought, it was like living your life. And then when I woke up, I thought, holy shit, that's not my life. Who the fucks was it? It was that realistic. That was
that's
really
weird.
creepy.
Maybe you were plugging into someone on the astral plane.
Maybe.
And maybe they were imagining your life and you were imagining theirs.
And they woke up going, fuck me, thank God that was a dream.
Oh dear. That's basically all I got on the Hopi. I've got a little bit on the Chitauri.
What's the Chitauri?
Well, that's the Zulu. Where are we? Just find the notes. Sorry.
Beck says there's lots of cases of people who've lived an entire lifetime in a dream, stroke, coma, etc. It's a really trippy subject. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is, Bex. I think you're right.
Dreams. Well, maybe we should do a show about dreams.
Oh, I think we should. Have we touched on dreams before? Because I think I've touched on dreams. I don't know if you were there though.
I don't think we certainly. I think we have touched on dreams from time to time, but I don't think we've actually done a show dedicated to us trying to figure out what dreams are.
Yeah. Well, we can go into dreams anytime, mate, because it's like open ended. You could go on forever talking about dreams.
Well, yeah, but there's lucid dreaming and all that kind of stuff as well. So that could be an interesting one. I'm not necessarily saying next week, but I think that could be a fascinating one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of the Chitauri, there's not a huge amount, and there are various different African serpent legends. There's a river serpent in Zambian legends that inhabits the Zambezi, whose name that I should know, but I've completely forgotten. My mind's gone blank.
The thing is, I don't think it's. I don't think personally it's unusual for there to be serpent legends across the world, because there's serpents everywhere, apart from Ireland, isn't there?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's like
where else isn't there any? Where's there no snakes? What continent doesn't have snakes?
It's probably Siberia.
No, it's not
Antarctica.
Continent,
I mean, Antarctica. I bet there's no snakes
probably
on Antarctica.
Yeah, it's too cold. Yeah, there won't be any
unless there are snakes living in the warm bit that the Nazis are all in.
Nazi snakes.
Oh well, if there's an underground thing in Antarctica, maybe there's still some snakes there. But the problem with reptiles and cold is that the two don't go very well together.
Well, yeah, of course, because they can't warm up their blood by basking in the sunlight when there isn't any.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know if you get snakes in places that, because I mean, certainly parts of Siberia are not freezing cold all year round. They just get bitterly cold in the winter.
Yeah.
But then, how would a snake survive?
They hibernate, don't they? They crawl. I mean, how did snakes survive in Scotland?
That's a fair point. Well, I sometimes wonder how anything survives in Scotland, but that's just me.
I mean, look. I mean, we touched on this the last time. I think Glasgow's got the same latitude as Fairbanks. You know, I mean, Scotland has it easy just now because of the Gulf Stream. If the Atlantic conveyor shuts down, Scotland's fucked. We're talking, mile deep glaciers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it would start snowing and it wouldn't stop snowing, and the snow would fill up all of your locks, and the locks would freeze, and you guys would be freezing your tits off. No, you'd all be moving down south, and we'd have bloody glaciers like starting to stretch their way down here too. So.
Yeah, but that'd be all right, because as the glaciers started taking all the water out of the oceans, Doggerland would become available for occupation, and we could move in there. We could become doggers. That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right at all.
Doesn't sound right at all, does it?
The first thing we'd have to do is change the name of the place.
Yeah, you're a dogger. Only in that I live in Doggerland.
And it would probably take hundreds of years to dry out as well. So it would just be...
Yeah, I'm not saying it would be overnight. It's like getting a cyst in your brain. It doesn't happen overnight. Sorry, I had to bring that one up.
Getting a cyst in your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Have you not seen the nonsense? Let's not talk about it tonight. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Just you'll know what I'm talking about if you're going to have a look at something that happened in Manchester Airport.
Oh, right. Yeah, got it. Yeah. Okay.
Right, okay.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've understood. So yeah, I mean that's basically what I've got on the Hopi.
Yep. Well, that more than does it, because I think basically that guy Schufeld was a confidence trickster, and he just made it up, and I can't find any trace of little Chief Greenleaf or Chief Little Greenleaf or whatever it was.
Well, the thing with that is that they can also pick up on some of these Native American legends and essentially just weave that into the confidence trick to make it all sound a bit more authentic, like this. And also like conquistadors. I mean, it would have probably been, I would have been a little bit more believable if he'd said pirates, but I mean, conquistadors just has this ring of authenticity and
did they ever go as far north as California, the conquistadors?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really paid that much attention to the conquest of America
No, me
by the
neither.
Spanish.
I thought most of the Spanish conquest was in the south, but they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they did occupy parts of California, so.
Oh, did they? Right. Okay. Well,
I think so. Because I think
LA's not far from the border with Mexico, so.
Well, it's like the Baja Peninsula. I think some of that is. Anyway, it's all complicated. I couldn't really speak from any position of authority on the subject.
Yeah. Well, we never do we?
No, we don't.
Right. So, anything else we want to talk about?
I can't think of anything. All the stuff that we could talk about is all just the shite that's going on in the world, and the people know about that anyway. So.
Yeah. It's like, what's all this? Well, let's touch on what's all this nonsense about preparing for WW3 in 3 years' time. What's all that? Where did that come from?
Well, I think that particular military person, has no idea what he's talking about and doesn't understand the situation on the ground in Ukraine.
Yeah.
B, doesn't understand the visceral loathing that most of the population have for their government.
Yeah.
And C, is probably hoping to get some sort of cushy job with a military industrial contractor. And those guys need their money. And I mean, this whole notion that the United Kingdom is going to go to war with anybody is laughable. I mean, we couldn't. Just the whole thing is so utterly absurd that you can't make it up. I mean,
yeah, I think you're right.
I think that the army is like 70,000 people or something.
Yeah, it's round about 75, something like that. It wouldn't fill Wembley. Put it that way.
And that's everybody. That's the people who drive the trucks. That's the people who cook the food. That's the people who do other things apart from fighting. When you actually look at the number of people within the military that could actually pick up a rifle and go and pound some dirt and kill Ruskies, I mean, it's a handful. And did you hear the story? Which is, I've seen nothing on it in the mainstream media, obviously, about a Russian attack on. They basically claimed to have killed 50.
Oh yeah, 50
foreign instructors.
18 SAS apparently.
Yeah, well, SAS or SBS.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But I also heard that because there was an attack on Odessa about a week ago. Odessa, I should say. That also involved those drone boat things. So, I mean, clearly the Russians are they're taking the gloves off.
I think so.
There's movement on the front, and as Putin said a couple of days ago, they haven't even really started trying yet. I mean, they've got 650,000 troops that they could put into the field right now, and they've got another 650,000 coming through the system. And they're shipping T-80 tanks to the battlefield, and it's just, and the Western media is constantly, Russia's running out of this, Russia's about to lose, they can't hold on much longer, and the Russians just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and essentially doing what they did to Napoleon and doing what they did to Hitler.
Just wear them down. That's it.
And they learned from history as well. They're not. I mean, in the case of Hitler and Napoleon, the Russians were kind of. I mean, they weren't necessarily improvising, but they had to throw a lot of bodies at the Germans to stop the advance. Yeah. And with Napoleon, they had to burn a large chunk of their country because they just did.
Well, that's where the scorched earth thing came up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they emptied Moscow out. And Napoleon, he managed to get to Moscow, but he didn't last very long because there wasn't any way of keeping his troops alive.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same mistake is being made again, and this time the Russians are like, no, we've done this twice. We've got our history books.
We know what we're doing. It's not our first rodeo, mate.
Exactly. And I mean, they just, if you just have to look at one or two videos of Fab 3000s hitting targets, and you just think, that's it, we're done. Just stop, because they don't even need nukes.
No, I know, they don't.
And those things are so accurate, they can basically send it through your window and then blow up your whole neighborhood. I mean, and why? Okay, this is what I can't understand. Why? Why can't we just, the Russians have got vast amounts of natural resources. Why can't we just buy cheap gas off them, drink their vodka, get together and all sing Katusha and shit together? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I know.
Because they're not bad people.
Because the Americans are stupid.
Well, we're all stupid. People have been listening to Western propaganda about Russia for the last 20 years. Because I remember very clearly when they started demonizing Putin. And it's been a constant drumbeat in the media for the last 22 odd years of Putin bad, Russia bad, Putin bad, or not necessarily Russia bad, but Putin bad, Putin bad, Putin bad. And actually, Putin's been the best thing that could have happened to Russia. If you actually look at what's happening to the Russian economy, and he says repeatedly, look, okay, when you look at armies and war, there are only a few reasons why countries make war on each other. One, the main one is usually natural resources, whether it's water or food or something that one country needs that it doesn't have, that a neighboring country does have. That's the kind of thing that will make one country go to war against the other. Now, when we're talking about a country that has 11 time zones, and some of the world's largest deposits of all of the different resources, the Russians have got literally everything they need, from rare earth minerals through to all the food that they could possibly want to grow. Some of the most fertile soil on Earth. What the hell do they want Poland and Germany for?
Well, they don't.
Exactly. So the whole notion that Russia's not going to stop at Ukraine and is going to keep going.
I know.
Is the most laughable nonsense I've ever heard in my whole life. It makes, apart from anything else, it makes zero logical sense.
Exactly.
And so don't get me started. We'll be sitting here sitting in an hour. Everyone will have gone, and I'll just be ranting, and you'll have fallen asleep.
Right. So with that, thank you one and all for attending this. I think it's been a blast as always. I've enjoyed this one. I think, unfortunately, I don't think lizard people are real. But hey, that's just one of these things, you know. And anything to close with, Ed?
No, just to say thanks for listening, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week.
Then it's been great for you.